Now available for the first time in paperback. Stop Simping in the Workplace. Men, learn what you need to know in order to protect your job from workplace predators with Stop Simping in the Workplace. Available in paperback at online booksellers everywhere.
X-Men 97 showrunner Beau DeMayo is disputing claims that Disney has made regarding his termination from being a showrunner for the X-Men 97 animated series. Now, according to Beau DeMayo's lawyer, he claims that Beau DeMayo was terminated because of a post that he made on social media regarding alphabet pride and not the claims of egregious sexual behavior that he made on the Disney staff as he was working on the X-Men 97 animated series. Now, according to reports, Disney has basically made the claim that their reason for terminating Beau DeMayo was because of allegations of alleged inappropriate behavior with staffers on the job, where he allegedly sent staffers pictures of his nude body in emails as alleged inspiration for drawing superhero poses, and alleged that he basically groped some staffers on the job. Now, Beau DeMayo claims that these allegations are Disney attempting to gaslight people into buying into their narrative regarding his termination. However, when I take a critical look at Beau DeMayo, he's definitely one of these guys who really didn't understand how to move in the workplace and basically made a lot of mistakes that I try to explain to black men to avoid in my book, Stop Simping in the Workplace. Now, what happened to Beau DeMayo, I believe, is that Beau basically got his head gassed up because he was a black man who was given a job as a showrunner in Hollywood, and a job as a showrunner is very rare for a black man to get. And as he got this job, he basically got his head gassed and thought he could basically do all sorts of things on the job, not understanding that when it comes to a black man, whether he be heterosexual or alphabet, he's got to watch how he moves on the job, because when it comes to black men on the job, we are not welcome there, and people are waiting for any minute detail or infraction to basically use that as a reason to terminate a black man. And Beau DeMayo really wasn't thinking about this as he was moving on this job. And sadly, because he wasn't thinking about this, he wasn't looking out for himself. And that's where people were looking for an opportunity to get him out of that position of power. Because again, showrunners have tremendous power on the job. They decide what scripts get approved. They decide who gets hired for things like voiceover work and decide the overall tone of the show. And that's a position of tremendous power, and they don't really want to see a black man in that job. So Beau DeMayo was possibly thinking that because he was a part of a certain sexual orientation, he would be able to possibly get a pass for certain behaviors, not understanding that he was going to be seen as black first and not the sexual orientation he possibly was identifying with. And that's basically where he made a tactical error that basically wound up with him possibly losing his job. Now, the claim that he is making, I don't really find to be one that I believe could be substantiated, when he said that he made a post regarding Pride Month on social media, and this was the reason why he was terminated. That doesn't add up for me, because as someone who has been in the studying the entertainment industry for over 25 years, I can tell you that when it comes to Disney has been promoting an alphabet agenda since the mid-1990s, when they had the Drew Carey show on and the Ellen DeGeneres show on when she was doing her sitcom, Ellen. I mean, Disney has been promoting an alphabet agenda for the last 20 plus years. So him making a post about Pride Month, I don't think would be a reason for termination. And Disney would possibly, if this allegation did come up, what they would do is basically show the post as evidence as related to how this violates their code for conduct and their policies as related to how employees are supposed to behave on social media. Now, I find this whole claim, again, one to suspect, because I've seen people over at Marvel Comics, many of the staff that work as comic writers and comic artists, go out here and make all sorts of statements that would be deemed, again, extremely inappropriate on their social media. So this claim by Beau DeMayo really does not really pass the stink test as related to this allegation being one that can be substantiated, because, again, ABC and all the other Disney net media platforms, again, they go out of their way to actively promote an alphabet agenda. So why would they go out here and want to go out here and terminate Beau DeMayo over a post that is promoting alphabet pride on social media? Critical question I've got to ask regarding Beau DeMayo's claim, because it doesn't really line up with everything that Disney has done as related to its business. Moreover, everything as related to his behavior, again, really fits a pattern as related to these allegations. I mean, this is not adding up to me as related to this claim that they would terminate him over a post on social media, when, again, staff at a division like Marvel Comics has been going on for years on social media, where you've had people, again, posting pride pictures and pride images for years on there, and, again, saying all sorts of egregious things that as related to politics, and nobody there has been terminated. However, when it comes to a black man, he's going to be judged by a different standard. But I just look at Beau DeMayo and I look at his case, and I'm looking at the facts of the case, and it's looking like there's a possible ring of truth to him allegedly going out here and sending these nudes and inappropriately touching people. And that would create a paper trail of evidence that investigators could follow, because when it comes to emails, they basically have a date and timestamp on them. And if they are sent through the Disney servers, basically what there is a written, documented record of these pictures, and that could be seen as hard evidence of possible sexual harassment. Because, again, according to federal law, when it comes to what is considered to be sexual harassment, it is considered to be unwanted and unwarranted advances on a person, such as continuing to ask them for a date, paying them constant compliments to try to win their affection after the person has repeatedly told you they're not interested, or the case of a hostile environment where a person goes out here and posts up sexually suggestive pictures or creates an environment that is considered to be hostile to the co-workers. And that is basically what happened here with Beau DeMayo. What happened to him is he basically was seen as, again, as related to these allegations of violating both standards of sexual harassment by, again, sending those nudes as alleged by these people in the investigation at Disney. And sending those nudes basically would constitute, one, unwanted and unwarranted advances. Now, he says it was supposed to be for art purposes. That's what they're saying it was about. But what's happening here is, again, this is considered to be a hostile environment, because, again, you're creating an environment where you're presenting sexualized images to someone as related to how the body is shown. Now, I understand that people do use nudes sometimes to, again, study anatomy for drawing purposes, but the whole thing is you just don't do that at work. No, at work, what you do is use a reference from a comic book, if you have a reference from a superhero comic book, if you want superhero poses. But Beau DeMayo didn't do that as alleged by Disney. Now, they're saying, again, he sent these pictures of himself, and that would, again, be seen as, again, sexual harassment, as unwanted and unwanted behavior, and basically be seen as a way of again, making an advance on someone at work on one standard, and on the other standard, it would be seen as creating a hostile environment, because most people don't want to see nudes of someone at work. And that could be seen again as creating that hostile environment. So that's basically where Beau DeMayo basically jammed himself up, because sending those pictures would basically make Disney liable as related to a situation regarding sexual harassment. Moreover, it would also make Disney liable if he was out here again sending these pictures on their server and they didn't do anything about it, because this would show that they basically did nothing to rectify the situation and possibly lead to Disney having to take big damages and a real major stain on their reputation, because X-Men 97 was a children's program. And that's another thing that Beau DeMayo really wasn't thinking critically about. He really wasn't thinking critically about the fact that this show was a children's show, and his behavior, as alleged, was extremely inappropriate for someone who's working on a children's show to participate in. Now, there was another claim that Beau DeMayo allegedly groped co-workers at the job, and that also falls in line with the standard for sexual harassment, because, again, inappropriate touching is all a part of the standard of unwanted and unwarranted advances, and if this had continued for an extended period of time, this would show a hostile environment and a culture that was being designed around this children's show, a culture that was being designed around this children's show of inappropriate behavior. And this inappropriate behavior basically was what Disney considered to be egregious, because this man was working on a children's program and participating in inappropriate conduct behind the scenes. And this was the possible grounds for his termination. And with Disney, if they did an investigation and they were able to document all this, this would basically lead to them having a clean hands as related to this entire incident. And even though Beau DeMayo may want to dispute things, if there's a paper trail as related to Disney's server of emails being sent and basically employees making claims with documents with dates and times, this is a nail in the coffin for anyone on a job, and would basically lead to the termination of anyone, because when it comes to sexual harassment, like I talk about in my book, Stop Simping in the Workplace, many companies will go out here and side with the workers, especially if there is evidence, and basically terminate that employee because they don't want to be sued in civil court for liability, and they don't want to have to pay punitive damages for not doing anything in this situation. And that's where Beau DeMayo basically is up Crap Creek without a paddle. Now, this black showrunner basically was not looking out for himself on this job, because he possibly thought, he would be included as related to diversity and inclusion, and thought that basically since he was being included as related to diversity and inclusion, he would get a pass for behaviors. But he didn't understand that when you are a black man, there are no passes for your behavior. And since there are no passes for your behavior, any minor infraction can lead to your termination. And that's why you've got to really watch how you move on these jobs. You've really got to watch how you move on these jobs. You've got to go out, and especially if you're working in a high position like Beau DeMayo was working on, you've really got to understand the concept of professional distance. And because professional distance is where you keep all your conversations job related, you keep all your communications job related, you keep everything documented as related to interactions, with coworkers. You keep everything as related to your movements on point, because again, people are looking for the minutest detail to get you out of that job. And sadly, Beau DeMayo was not really thinking about this, and basically could not see the target on his back as related to the position he had been given as related to X-Men 97. He didn't really think about the target on his back as related to working on this show. And as a result of him basically taking his position for granted, he basically wound up out of that job just as fast as he came in, because people were looking at him and saying, hey, we see this black man on this job in a position that Hollywood really doesn't want to see a black man in, but because this black man was caught up in his identity politics, he couldn't see that he had enemies all around him. He thought he was going to be included due to diversity and inclusion, but at the end of the day, they were just being anti-black. And this workplace simp basically didn't understand that you have to watch how you, again, move in the workplace. I know some people don't like it when I repeat, but I want you to understand you have to watch how you move in this workplace because, again, one of the most minor moves that you make could possibly lead to you getting fired and possibly wind up with a destroyed reputation and having to try to find a way to start all over again. And that's where Beau DeMayo is at this point. Known for, again, one of the best seasons, according to some people, of X-Men 97, and won't be able to get that job again because, again, people at Disney now see that he's, again, a liability due to his behavior. He didn't really think about this at all, and anybody out here in the workplace, especially if you're a black man, you really have to think about what you do, think about how you move, watch where you're going, and watch how you're talking to people, because people will take the most minor statements that you make and try to make it into a claim of sexual harassment or some sort of offense. So you've really got to watch how you move, what you say, and what you do when you're on these jobs. You've really got to watch everything that you do and really be careful about how you speak to people and how you send pictures to people, because they will take things and take them and create context around them. So this is what happened to Beau DeMayo, and basically he's, again, as I see it, up crap creek without a paddle, because he's gone out here and now is trying to dispute these claims with a lawyer, but there's no real dispute if they have records and documentation. I mean, he can try to go to court, but if they have the documentation and the proof and have witnesses to substantiate those claims, Beau DeMayo basically has gone from being a showrunner on X-Men 97 to being X'd out of one of the most popular revivals of an animated series in history. Now, if you want to pick up my first full comic, John Haynes at Death's Door, you can find that comic on Lulu.com right now in paperback, and you can also find it right now on Kindle, along with my other first digital comic, A Steam No Good Deed, and the books of the SJS Direct Universe, such as the ISIS series, the Steam series, the John Haynes series, the books of the Spinsterella trilogy, my vampire novel, Eternal Night, my black sorority novel, The Thetas, and my black business novel, Recipe for Success. You can find all those books in paperback and Kindle format on Amazon.com, and you can also find them at other online booksellers like Draft the Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and big box retailers like Walmart and Target. And if you'd like to see me make more videos about the entertainment industry, you can send a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and e-readers, A Steam Horror in the Hamptons. The aspiring angel tries to escape a house of horrors in this action-packed, all-new Esteem series adventure. Get your copy of Esteem Horror in the Hamptons in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere. Now available in paperback and e-readers, Isis, Dark Incubus. The goddess next door gets enthralled in a romantic entanglement with an evil incubus in this all-new Isis series adventure. Get your copy of Isis, Dark Incubus in paperback and e-readers today. Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, Illuminati. The man who rules the world takes on the head of the global elite in this all-new action-packed John Haynes series adventure. Get your copy of John Haynes' Illuminati in paperback and e-readers at Amazon.com and online booksellers everywhere. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.